For once, best for last is not true. Lorenzo and Fane have done a tremendous job in conveying their messages. However, opening up for adult beverages rocks. So, if we look at 2019, how are we going to describe this year in the drone industry? And up until, the beginning of the year, we talked a lot about how are we going to start drone programs. And in 2019, what we're really talking about is how are we scaling up the existing programs? And that is extremely exciting because we're seeing this across multiple verticals. For example, public safety, Washington State Patrol, they now have over 110 aircrafts in their fleet. They are truly scaling up to utilize this technology for accident reconstructions and crime scene investigation. That allows them to open up roads much faster, which then in return helps the public getting to work, getting to their families faster. Huge economical impact. But we're also seeing this phenomenon of scaling up in other verticals like agriculture. And here we're seeing some interesting developments and partnerships like Corteza and Drone Deploy working together and utilizing drones in agriculture, scaling up over 400 drones for use in ag. And then of course the Department of Interior, which doubled its flights with drones from 2017 to 2018. It's now flying over 10,000 missions. And if we look at the numbers that the FAA has released, the forecast numbers from 2018 to 2019, what we're seeing is that we're almost 2 years ahead of what the predictions were just a little bit over a year and a half or so ago. And that is extremely interesting and exciting. So scaling up truly right now is something that we're talking more and more about. But in order to maintain this pace, we as an industry have to do a lot of things, including we gotta standardize this more. And we've heard this all day long. It is something very important, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about this standardization when I talk about public safety. But we also come together in the industry and we help each other, and that's also something we've been hearing all day. And what is happening right now is there are a lot of great information being put together by not only drone manufacturers, but also entities outside of the industry. Last month, we released a really good guide with the Department of Transportation, North Carolina Department of Transportation, that really looks at the framework that they built and established across their entire state. API, they did a guidebook all by themselves without input from any of the drone manufacturers to really dig into some of the issues and some of the areas of concerns to them and bring best practices to the members of API. And this is fantastic because we are making information available so that departments, companies, and individuals don't have to reinvent the wheel. And just today, DJI and Police1.com released another one of those helpful guides about drone programs in law enforcement and how to navigate through that, what to look for, and how to find funding. All of these are available if you go into your InterDrone app and you click on the Keynote sessions. They're all there, including some additional information that we made available so that you don't have to go out there and reinvent the wheel. What we're trying to do is we're really trying to be the platform of choice for all the various different verticals. And yes, in public safety, we're a little bit more established because we have had the opportunity to learn. We have to do the same thing on the other verticals as well. Now, in order to do all of this, there are 3 areas where we have been, are, and will continue to focus on. One is product safety. And we are leading the industry on several of the safety features, from geofencing to return to home to the knowledge quiz. I actually really like the knowledge quiz because it's based on the location of the first-time operator. A quiz pops up. He and she have to go through certain questions and answer them properly. Those are steps that we believe are necessary to continue to improve the safety of the products. And then data security, and this is a topic that is very, very fascinating in today's political climate. Over the last 2 years, we have been hearing a lot of claims that DJI's data is not safe, that DJI's data is going to China. And even if the drone is turned off, it will record you in 4K, probably with sound. 2 years ago, when I was on the stage, I made a claim, actually I made a request. If you have a claim, make it an evidence-based claim. Because it doesn't help the industry if we make these claims that say drones are going to save money, they're going to save lives, they're going to save time, but there is no evidence in the background. Reality is, we started out as a company for consumer product. We are now in the enterprise space. We have to learn ourselves what is needed. And so all of this has provided us a really good platform to learn what are the needs when it comes to data security, and how can we bring products to the market that address those specific worries. But our technology was always meant to be used for peaceful purposes. If a military organization chooses to use DJI, it's a tremendous honor. But we have to understand that those platforms were never meant to be meeting those standards. So we also have to be realistic. What is done on the security side is that we are implementing a lot of features that help with that data security. It's your drone, it's your data. You are in charge of where the data goes and how it's being used. We're putting in additional encryption technology. In the Mavic 2 Enterprise series, we're now also seeing password-protected features. And then, of course, our local data mode that, in essence, cuts off any interaction between your tablet and the great internet. Furthermore, we have also launched Government Edition, which is a software platform specifically for those entities that work in highly sensitive data areas. So constantly we're trying to come up with new ways to protect the data so that other entities can utilize our technology. And then another area that we're focusing on and that we're improving upon is the support. And that, let me start with the QEP, the Qualified Entities Program, which, if you're in public safety right now, we can fully unlock your platforms for lifetime. And that is extremely important because public safety, the law enforcement officer and the fireman are not the concern that we have that will do something out of not knowing. So we have a process in place to help mitigate that need to have a machine available at any given time. But then we're also focusing on the SDK. In 2014, we released the software development kit along with the Inspire 1. And thanks to that, we've seen these amazing apps come to market that work on our platforms and do a lot of things that we didn't even imagine back then. And last year, we announced the Payload SDK. Now we can take third-party hardware and integrate it into our own M200 series, for example. So we're seeing new sensors come to market that will change, again, the workflow that is being done. But those are the partnerships that we need to support more and learn from. And now let's take a quick look at the state of UAVs in public safety. The Bard College released data up to about April of 2018 showing how many agencies are utilizing drone technology. We will be getting updated data very soon for all of 2018 and part of 2019. But what we're seeing is a huge increase in agencies across the United States utilizing drone technology. And when we look at 2 years' worth of RFP data from government entities trying to get drones, over 50% are from public safety entities. Clearly, this is a market that can utilize this technology. And the next slide I am extremely proud to present because thanks to all our efforts, and that's everyone in here because all of us have contributed to 277 plus lives documented, saved by drone, where the drone was that one tool that allowed a search and rescue operation, a fire department, or a law enforcement operation to save a life. Almost 300 people documented that we have saved thanks to all of our efforts. That's over 600 parents that still have a son and a daughter. The impact of this is tremendous. And not to mention all the undocumented cases where the drone was a huge factor in saving a life or mitigating the risk to our public safety officials. But there's still so much more that needs to be done. I mentioned the standardization. And one area that we need to really focus more on is training. The standardization of training, because we have these great training pieces all over the United States done by different entities, but they're not all in the same place. And so the drone first responder group is now tasked with bringing all of this together so we can have meaningful training, which also means we will have meaningful certification. So if the fireman in San Diego is doing a certification and then moves to New England, it has meaning up there. And that is extremely important. And then, of course, more and deeper integration. The drone still is a data collection device, no question about it. We're seeing drone deliveries being done in public safety as well, but the main core is still data. Therefore, it has to be better integrated, and the data needs to be available in a way and format that we can comprehend and quickly make decisions out of it. So that deeper integration is happening. We're seeing a lot of amazing solutions coming out. Now, the pieces are coming together for large-scale deployments. And we saw that last year with, again, North Carolina Department of Transportation and Hurricane Florence. They did an amazing job with 15 drone teams from 7 different supporting agencies, flying close to 300 missions, collecting over 8,000 pictures and videos, and live streaming data to incident command so better decisions could be made faster. And if we look at these pictures, this is what it may look again in the not too distant future. If it's not Hurricane Dorian, it will happen again. We gotta realize that the storms are real, the impact is real, and we need to utilize technology available to help with those operations. And then one that I am particularly proud of, because I was part of it, was the campfire in Paradise in California last November, where 16 public safety entities came together from both fire and law enforcement. And we were flying over 600 missions, collecting over 70,000 images and videos, mapping 17,000 acres of the city of Paradise. That's 13,000 football fields. We are fully integrated with CAL FIRE while they were still flying manned aircrafts over us, and we were doing our drone work. And we utilized DJI Aeroscope, our detection and tracking solution, not only as a control tower to see where are our own drones, but also to see unauthorized activities. And all of this would not have been possible with that teamwork, with that partner network. We were utilizing Drone Deploy on all of the missions. We were driving hard drives of data down to Drone Deploy in San Francisco so that they could feed it into their servers because it was such a large amount of data that needed to process. And we're still dealing with somewhat of, I call it old-time technologies, where we have challenges of charging in the field because we're flying so many drones at the same time. We need batteries charged, we need iPads charged, we need remote controllers charged, and we're dealing with SD cards. All of this will eventually change and become easier so that we get these amazing mapping solutions where we can slide the bar left to right and see the before and after, such as the map that went up on the Butte County's website within hours. And the data is, to this day, almost a year later, still being used by insurance companies, by city planners' offices. It's a tremendous amount of helpful information. And in order to get that actionable data, we also started integrating artificial intelligence. Our good friends at, don't you hate that when you forget the name? Unleash Life. That was almost dramatic. Our good friends at Unleash Life helped us, the wildfire prior to the campfire in Reading, to build a model that can spot burnt home, damaged home from unburned, burnt car from unburned car. So we can fly a drone quickly over a neighborhood and then get one of those maps that show exactly which plot was damaged. And if you think about this, this is the kind of actionable data we need quickly after a flight to make the next decisions. We really only have touched the surface of the iceberg. But all of this is not possible without working together. It's not just DJI, it's DJI and the ecosystem, it's DJI and all the other manufacturers of different platforms, from multi-rotors to fixed wing. There is still a lot of work to be done, but we are here today much further ahead of the time than a year ago, way further ahead than 5 years ago when I first stood on this stage and we were talking about aerial photography for fun. Let's keep in mind, this is year 5, at least for this conference, but mostly also for the industry. And what we have achieved in 5 years is pretty darn amazing. And yet, there is a mountain of work ahead of all of us. So, please join us tomorrow evening at 5:15 to have a cocktail, an adult beverage that I was just opening up to. In one of the conference rooms, we will have our Enterprise Connect, sponsored by DJI. Come meet the DJI team, meet each other, talk, share best practices, and over the next couple of days, please continue making these networks, these connections, because it will help the entire industry. Thank you very much.